Hey guys, welcome back to another video. It's been a while. It's been a hot minute. I mean, in the time that I haven't made a video, my hair grew back. That's crazy. But hopefully, back on track for more consistent uploads. I'll try to get at least 2 uploads in this week, and then starting next week I'll get in 1 upload. The date hasn't been determined just yet, but keep an eye out for it. But it's safe to say I've missed you guys, and can't wait to come back and just talk to you guys about what's been on my mind. For today's episode, we'll be talking about tolerance and what it is and how it's actually beneficial in our lives. So just to start off, tolerance is when you're, for example, interacting with people who have opposing views on something. It could be political, social, or religious, or quite frankly, whatever else. When it comes to tolerance doesn't mean that you accept their point of view and you respect them for it. All it means is that you understand that this other individual that you're talking to has their own belief system, has their own point of views, and has their own rationale to justify certain things in their own lives. That's what tolerance is. So tolerance doesn't mean acceptance. It just means that there's a barrier. You believe what you believe in, they believe what they believe in, and really nobody's going to be imposing themselves on each other, right? So that's the inherent understanding with what tolerance is. Now, the issue is, in our day and age, is tolerance is viewed as something negative. You're constantly shunned for it depending on who you're interacting with, especially if they're liberals. But really anybody who has a strong stance on whatever view they have will never accept the fact that you're just tolerating them, you're tolerating their views and not accepting them. They want you to accept them. You either accept it or you're outright disagreeing with them and you're a bigot and you need to be shunned, So acceptance isn't something that can be forced on everybody. You can't force someone to accept your political views. You can't force someone to accept your social or religious views, even if you're within the same religion. I mean, how often are there disagreements from people from within the same religion? Regardless of whatever they base their arguments on, you can never get somebody to accept what you believe in. So the default to that, to maintain peace at a social level, societal level, and even at the world level, is tolerance. Yep, and unfortunately, society has just not given us the opportunity to make that the norm. They're trying to drive that out and instead force everybody to accept each other. That's not going to work. Now, it's got to be the foundation of our interaction with people. I've had interactions with people where as soon as there was the slightest hint of a disagreement, they were gone. They'd either throw a fit and then leave in the form of blocking, because in the digital age and with what we got going on in the world right now, you're not really out there just meeting people. They just leave as soon as there's the slightest hint of a disagreement, because they just can't fathom the fact that you'll tolerate them for what they believe in and not accept what they believe in and just go along with it. And one of the things that we really need to think about is, what could that possibly do to society, right? Like when you sit around and you're constantly forcing people to accept each other, which will never happen, what is the result of that? And it's very simple: conflict. Once you start to force somebody to accept certain views, that's never going to work. There's always going to be a certain degree of resistance, conflict, And quite frankly, the problem never gets solved, and there's always going to be an issue. Whereas if you make it okay to tolerate one another, then people can live together in harmony. And it's just really interesting, and it's something to think about based on where the world is headed today. Because where we're headed, there's a lot of instability, social, economical, political instability around the world. So that could be one of the key factors that leads to stability, even if it's just starting from within a community, and it could spread across the board. Now, I wanted just to come back in and vent my thoughts on tolerance and how it's amazing for the world. So go ahead and in the comment box below, go ahead and let me know what you think. What are your thoughts on tolerance? What are your experiences? Has anybody ever infringed on you and expected you to accept them for who they are, what their views are, and so on? What was your response? And how do you, what situations have you been in where you've had to tolerate others? Have an awesome day.